COFIIG-Ghana on Agrada's 15-year sentence, a wake-up call against religious fraud. Nana Agrada's husband speaks, the truth behind the 15-year sentence. Bukom Banku urges President Mahama to pardon Nana Agradaa after 15-year jail sentence. Nana Agradaa jailed for 15 years, Charlatanic advertisement and fraud exposed. COFIIG-Ghana on Agrada's 15-year sentence, a wake-up call against religious fraud. The Coalition for Integrity and Governance, Ghana, COFIIG-Ghana, has expressed a mix of approval and concern regarding the recent sentencing of Evangelist Patricia Asiedua, widely known as Nana Agradaa. This ruling is seen as a significant step forward in Ghana's ongoing battle against fraud and the exploitation of religious beliefs. However, there are apprehensions about certain elements of the sentencing, highlighting the need for a more equitable approach to justice. On Wednesday, an Accra Circuit Court sentenced the former fetish priestess, who has transitioned into an evangelist, to 15 years in prison after she was found guilty on 6 counts of defrauding individuals through false pretenses. The charges stemmed from her deceptive practices, where she misled her followers into believing that their financial contributions would yield spiritual returns, a promise that ultimately proved to be a scam. COFIIG-Ghana has consistently advocated for the rule of law, transparency, and the safeguarding of vulnerable populations, especially the youth, who are often the primary victims of such fraudulent schemes. The conviction of a prominent figure like Nana Agradaa sends a powerful and timely warning to others involved in similar deceitful practices, particularly within religious communities that exploit the faith and desperation of individuals. Nevertheless, there is concern regarding the severity of the 15-year sentence, especially since this is her first offense and she is a well-known public figure with the potential for rehabilitation. We encourage her legal representatives to seek a reduction in her sentence, not as a means to undermine justice, but to strike a balance between punishment and the opportunity for reform and restitution. Moreover, while the sentencing is a positive development, COFIIG-Ghana firmly believes that restitution for the victims should be a fundamental aspect of such legal decisions. Justice should not only serve to penalize the offender, but also aim to mend the damage inflicted on the victims. In this instance, numerous victims have suffered significant financial losses and rightfully deserve compensation. We advocate for the implementation of sentencing frameworks that prioritize the return of misappropriated funds or assets, even if it necessitates a reduction in prison time to facilitate practical repayment or recovery efforts. Our justice system must embody both punitive and restorative principles. It is insufficient for offenders to merely serve time. They must also be held accountable for returning what they have unlawfully taken, particularly when the victims are identifiable and have endured considerable losses. In summary, COFIIG-Ghana calls for ongoing reforms within our criminal justice system to ensure that victims of fraud are not overlooked in the quest for punishment. The ruling against Agradaa marks a significant beginning, but we must continue to pursue a form of justice that both deters future offenses and restores what has been lost. Signed, Honorable Simon Yawadzi, Executive Director, Coalition for Integrity and Governance, Ghana, COFIIG-Ghana. Telephone, 055-858-9873. Email protected, https://www.modernghana.com/cdn-cgi/l/email-protection. Location, Accra, Ghana. Nana Agrada's husband speaks, the truth behind the 15-year sentence. The church will persist, husband of Nana Agradaa responds following her 15-year prison sentence. By Brana Kudiyai, Azamatiko. In a surprising turn of events, Pastor Eriko Duro Asayama, the spouse of the well-known evangelist Patricia Asiedua, famously referred to as Nana Agradaa, has finally spoken out after his wife received a hefty 15-year prison sentence accompanied by hard labor. Nana Agradaa, who is not only the founder of Heavenway Champion Ministries but also has a background as a traditional priestess, was found guilty by the Accra Circuit Court on charges of false advertising and defrauding individuals under false pretenses. This conviction stemmed from a televised church service where she made a controversial promise to double the money of her congregation members. Unfortunately, many attendees later reported that they had lost their money following this event. In his remarks after the court's decision, Pastor Asayama clarified that the allegations of fraud were tied to the offerings collected during an all-night service that took place 3 years prior. He asserted that the complaints from church members regarding that service were pivotal in leading to his wife's conviction. Despite the severe sentence, Pastor Asiedua expressed unwavering confidence that the church would continue its operations. "It's normal. The church will persist," he stated firmly, indicating his belief in the resilience of their ministry. This situation has ignited a wave of mixed reactions from the public. While some individuals are raising questions about the church's practices, others remain steadfast in their support for the beleaguered evangelist. But here's where it gets controversial. The implications of this case extend beyond just one individual. They touch on broader issues of trust and accountability within religious organizations. How should communities respond when leaders are accused of exploiting their followers? As the story unfolds, it invites a deeper conversation about the responsibilities of spiritual leaders and the expectations of their congregations. What do you think? Should the church continue to operate under these circumstances, or is it time for a re-evaluation of its practices? Share your thoughts in the comments. Bukom Banku urges President Mahama to pardon Nana Agradaa after 15-year jail sentence. Justice or mercy? The heated debate over Nana Agrada's 15-year sentence and why a boxing legend is begging for her freedom. Imagine spending 15 years behind bars for scamming vulnerable followers. Is that a fair punishment or a heartbreaking overreach? This is the question dividing Ghana after Nana Agradaa, a former traditional priestess turned evangelist, was sentenced to over a decade in prison for fraud. But here's where it gets controversial. Retired boxing icon Bukom Banku is now passionately pleading with President John Dramani Mahama to intervene, claiming the punishment is too painful to bear. Why the outcry? Let's break it down. Agradaa's story is one of dramatic transformation and alleged deception. Once a respected spiritual leader, she shifted to evangelism but was accused of continuing to exploit her followers financially. The court's verdict? 15 years in prison, a decision many see as a bold stand against fraud. Yet Banku, known for his fiery personality, argues that mercy should triumph over strict justice. "If she were your mother, you'd feel the pain too," he emotionally declared, urging Mahama to consider a pardon. But here's the twist. Banku isn't blindly defending Agradaa. He openly criticized her history of wrongdoing, accusing her of flaunting her crimes on social media and using intimidation tactics. "A beautiful woman like you," he lamented. "Why keep stealing and bragging about being wicked?" This duality raises a critical question. Can someone who repeatedly breaks the law truly deserve compassion? The public's verdict: cheers for justice or calls for mercy. While some celebrate the sentence as a deterrent against scams, others worry about Agrada's well-being in prison. 15 years could be a death sentence, Banku warned, emphasizing the harsh realities of Ghanaian incarceration. And this is the part most people miss. The debate isn't just about crime and punishment. It's about whether Ghana's justice system prioritizes rehabilitation or retribution. So, we ask you, should the law be a hammer or a helping hand? As Agrada's case sparks national conversation, it's time to reflect. Is a 15-year sentence a necessary example or an excessive punishment that overlooks the root causes of such crimes? Should public figures like Banku influence pardons, or does that undermine the judicial process? Share your thoughts, and let's keep the discussion going. After all, justice shouldn't just be about laws. It should be about what unites us as a society. Nana Agradaa jailed for 15 years, Charlatanic advertisement, and fraud exposed. In a shocking turn of events, Nana Agradaa, the charismatic founder and leader of the Heaven Way Church, has been handed a 15-year prison sentence with hard labor. This stiff penalty comes after an Accra Circuit Court, presided over by Justice Evelyn Amoah, found her guilty of charges related to deceptive advertising and fraud by false pretenses. But here's where it gets controversial. Following her conviction, the court took an unusual step by ordering a pregnancy test before finalizing the sentence. Justice Amoah's rationale was to determine Nana Agrada's pregnancy status, which could potentially influence the sentencing. The test results added another layer of drama when Agradaa returned to court with a visibly worried expression. The roots of this legal battle can be traced back to a viral video from 2022, where Agradaa made bold promises to double the money of individuals who attended a special all-night service at her church in Waja. This enticing offer attracted many followers, but their hopes were dashed when they didn't receive the promised returns. The situation escalated when several congregants came forward with allegations of fraud, claiming they were asked to contribute money under the guise of it being doubled, only to be left empty-handed. Their stories went viral, sparking public outrage and prompting a swift response from the authorities. On October 9, 2022, Nana Agradaa was arrested by the Ghana Police Service following multiple complaints from the public. The police statement at the time confirmed that Agradaa was assisting with their investigations into the money-doubling scam. In the aftermath of her arrest, the police urged anyone who had fallen victim to the alleged scheme to come forward and assist with the ongoing investigations. This case serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of financial scams and the importance of due diligence. And this is the part most people miss. What impact will this verdict have on her followers and the broader religious community? Will it lead to increased scrutiny of other religious leaders making similar promises? Share your thoughts in the comments below.